What up, Leaguers? Welcome to the Spectacular Spoiler League. I'm the Pandan Superman, the mayor of Hype City, HazyRome, and as always, I'm joined by the God of Night, the Prime Minister of Post-Production, DeepBoyce. And today we're in the Hall of Spoilers to talk about our main man, the Jedi, Obi-Wan Kenobi, man.
The only hope.
The only hope, baby.
The only hope. I mean, many moons ago, if you guys have been following us from the jump, we did a video about possible Star Wars movies, and it was confirmed that there's going to be, or that there was going to be, they had plans of doing an Obi-Wan Kenobi solo film, or at least the rumors were out.
Yes.
But it seems like it is doubly confirmed.
Yes.
Very recently, today, the 17th of August, 2017. That it is in the works, that they're definitely going to go forward and continue this Star Wars plan of every single year. Star Wars 2017, Star Wars 2018, Star Wars 2019, Star Wars 2020, bomb.
Till the end of freaking time, bro, and I'm down, man. I'm down.
Forever and ever.
So Stephan Daldry, okay, they call him Star Wars Newest Hope in this article by the Hollywood Reporter. Shout outs to Hollywood. This Oscar-nominated director is in talks to direct a Obi-Wan Kenobi solo film. So this film is not, there's no script. It's literally like the very early stages, so we probably want to see it for like a good couple years.
Yep.
But the purpose of this video right here, it's not to talk about news, baby. It's to talk about our top three wants, our top three plots for the Obi-Wan solo movie, man. So, we've been talking about this, like, yo, where could this movie take place? What kind of Obi-Wan stories you could tell? Because the Star Wars saga seems clean and cut, even though it's not clean cut because the prequels weren't that good. But anyway, we're not going to dwell on the bad. We're going to dwell on the good. DeepBoyce, start us off with this honorable mention we got to start off this top three plot points or plot theories for Obi-Wan Kenobi, the movie.
Yes, sir. Now, our honorable mention is an Obi-Wan Kenobi solo film where my man is off on a mission during the Clone Wars. Sometime around episode 2, because we know that the Clone Wars lasted, about 3 years or so?
Yeah, I think it's about 3 years. Don't quote me on that. But the thing about it is, when there was a Clone Wars animated series, me and you watched that. Great series. If you haven't watched it, you need to watch it. Stop playing around. But the Clone Wars started in Attack of the Clones, and then you don't really see the Clone Wars in the movies. You only see the end of it in the Revenge of the Sith. It's literally the beginning and the end of the Clone Wars you see in the movies. So, why not tell a story during Obi-Wan, operating during the Clone Wars era, man?
Yeah. You
could bring back Hayden Christensen
as,
Anakin Skywalker, because everybody loved him as Anakin Skywalker. We all know everybody loved him as Anakin. Nah, I'm just playing. I would love to see him get a second chance to play that character, maybe doing some justice. Maybe see his growing, issues with the Jedi Order, and, see Obi-Wan's continued loyalty and his ascension to the Jedi Council, because that's something you didn't see in Attack of the Clones.
Absolutely. And I also have a suggestion that might be a little crazy. Bring back...
Nothing too crazy, man. We got an Obi-Wan solo movie right now. Nothing too crazy.
Bring back a certain character that I myself wasn't too fond of, but they could maybe do this character justice, and that's General Grievous.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Jar Jar Binks. I was going to throw your ass out of this room, bro.
Keep him out of there. Keep him out of there.
Okay.
I mean, he joins the Senate or whatever. You can keep him out there. I don't know, signing papers and going on treatises and all that kind of stuff.
He could sign his release papers and just release him from the galaxy or release him from his contract to Star Wars movies. Get him out of here.
Well, you make a good point that we see the beginning of the Clone Wars and we see the end of the Clone Wars. And during that period of time, Grievous... You see there's a rivalry between Grievous and Obi-Wan.
Right.
But we don't really see, them going back and forth as
point.
great generals on each side.
That's a good point.
Maybe kind of bring them back and, do a little something to kind of, Because I don't think he's seen in a good light, General Grievous.
Sure.
I think he's a little kind of corny, a little too much.
Yeah.
He's a character made to sell action figures.
Sure.
A man with 4 arms, a robot.
And mad lightsabers. Yeah.
But, maybe you can do a little something with him and just kind of redeem that character.
I mean, George Lucas, when he created General Grievous, the intention was to pay homage to Darth Vader and what Anakin Skywalker would become. Because like the heavy breathing that you hear General Grievous have, the fact that he's more machine than whatever creature he is. So that's a good notion. Another thing I was thinking of is the thing that most people like the most about Attack of the Clones, which is featuring more. What'd you say?
Sand.
Everyone, no, don't bring back the dialogue from Attack of the Clones. Please bring back some of the Jedi. A lot of the Jedi, that are part of the council, you don't get to see them in action like that.
True.
Like Mace Windu, for example.
Mace Windu.
This dude, Samuel L. Jackson, pleads with the fandom and pleads with Lucasfilm on a regular basis to bring him back as Mace Windu.
They could bring in Kit Fisto.
There you go. Kit Fisto, man.
Ki-Adi-Mundi. That's
you saying name. A lot of words I don't know, but
that's the dude with the big head.
I know
he's got a heart in his head. Because his brain's so big, he needs another heart in his head. He's part of the council. They could bring in my man Plo Koon.
Yeah, I like Plo Koon. His name's a little racist, but it's a little much.
Or Yoda,
I mean, yeah. I mean, the options are there. And, in terms of when it takes place, like, you got to remember, like, this doesn't have to be something that, like, takes away from the canon of the Clone Wars. Also, remember the Clone Wars series, like, didn't finish. So they could very well tell a story that takes place sometime after where the Clone Wars left off and where the beginning of Revenge of the Sith, comes in. So there's plenty of time, I'm just throwing things over. I'm so excited. There's plenty of eras they can explore, plenty of stories they can explore within the Clone Wars. And, Obi-Wan starring there prime time. That would be pretty great.
Yeah, no, totally agree.
But let's kick off this list, DeepBoyce. We're going to make it official like a ref with a whistle. Number 3, plot point or plot theory for Obi-Wan Kenobi's solo movie. What we got, DeepBoyce?
We got what we call a prequel.
A prequel.
Or not necessarily an Obi-Wan origin story, but a movie that takes place when Obi-Wan was a Padawan. Before the Phantom Menace episode 1, a movie with Obi-Wan and Qui-Gonn together, teaming up, doing their thing, going on many missions. Personally, I like this one because, I'm a fan of some of the Star Wars fiction, some of the Star Wars literature out there. A lot of that has, become non-canonical, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately.
True. That's true. That's a good way to look at it.
But long ago, and I should look up the name of it, but there is an Obi-Wan book that I actually read that was Obi-Wan when he was like a teenager, going on adventures with Qui-Gon. I think they got separated and Obi-Wan got kind of taken in by slavers or something like that, so he was out on his own, and it was like one of his major kind of breakthroughs as a Padawan. His journeys learning the ways of the Force and not succumbing to the dark side, which he did in Phantom Menace. I know they don't like to talk about that.
I mean, he got pretty angry when he went after Darth Maul there.
Yeah,
he wasn't out here like, oh, peace and prosperity to you, my man. He was out there like, yo, you killed my master.
But obviously, this prequel story would have some problems, sort of, even though the technology's there. Ewan McGregor is in his 50s. He doesn't look too bad. I think he is.
What?
He looks pretty good for someone that's in his 50s.
Yo, I gotta look that up. He looks fantastic for a man in his 50s.
He most certainly does not look like in his late 20s to maybe early 30s when he was Obi-Wan in the Phantom Menace. And Liam Neeson also looks good for his age.
Yes.
I think he would actually be able to pass off a little bit more.
I think he actually would be able to come back in and play Qui-Gon Jinn if he needed to. But
and Qui-Gon's a cool character. I'm a big fan of Qui-Gon, to be honest with you.
I'm a big fan of Qui-Gon. You alluded to the technology that's out there. I mean, we've seen it. We saw it if you saw whack-ass Pirates of the Caribbean 5. You saw Jack Sparrow, young Jack Sparrow. We also saw it in a more popular movie, Captain America Civil War, where Robert Downey Jr. is featured as a younger version of himself. The technology is there to de-age if need be. Ewan McGregor's 46.
All right.
So he's not quite at his 50s, but he's still...
Fair enough.
He's still... he's up there. But...
Middle-aged,
Yeah, you could... And mind you, we're focused on the notion that Obi-Wan is being played by Ewan McGregor. There's nobody else playing Ewan McGregor, playing Obi-Wan. See, the names are synonymous. I'm over here confusing it. There's no one else that's going to play Obi-Wan. No matter where this time period takes place, it's Obi-Wan, it's Ewan McGregor. They're one and the same.
In our minds, there's only 2 Obi-Wans.
Yeah.
Sir Alec McGuinness.
There you go.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
And Ewan McGregor.
Yes. live in power, my man.
It is what it is.
There you go. I mean, another thing that I want to mention about Qui-Gonn Jinn is that in episode 3, you kind of found out that Qui-Gonn Jinn had learned some technique to kind of extend his life beyond physical death. And, you know, he's the one who eventually teaches Obi-Wan to, you know, essentially, you know, surpass death and live through the Force. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it might be an interesting thing to see maybe Qui-Gon, you know, figuring this all out during this prequel era. Because we don't really know Qui-Gon for that long when, you know, the Phantom Menace starts.
And don't we see that in the Clone Wars cartoon? That Yoda goes off and learns that?
Yes, Yoda goes off to Dagobah.
Oh, that's when he discovers Qui-Gon.
That's when
he's learned it.
Yeah, his visions and whatnot take him to Dagobah, and Qui-Gon is actually there on Dagobah. Another thing, this is low-key something that, you know, you guys might not know about if you didn't watch Clone Wars, and once again, let me remind you, you need to watch that. Duchess Satine.
Yes.
Love interest for Obi-Wan Kenobi, a young Obi-Wan Kenobi. They had some type of relationship in the past. It's never officially confirmed what exactly, you know, happened between them. But, you know, you could a prequel movie that takes place before episode 1 would allow you to maybe introduce that character into canon.
Yes, sir.
Show that, you know, once again, you know, on the flip side of you talking about Obi-Wan kind of resisting the temptations of the dark side, maybe, you know, him having to struggle with the idea of, you know, not becoming romantically linked to anybody. Yeah. That would also kind of show him as kind of like, you know, this person who's able to really truly master the Jedi ways, unlike Anakin, who ultimately we know falls to those lusts and those urges. So I mean, the more I'm talking about, the more interested I am in seeing that era explored in some means, whether it's like a miniseries or a cartoon or something. But anyway, number two plot theory or plot point or whatever for the Obi-Wan Kenobi solo movie is an interquel between episodes 1 and 2. Now, this is another, you know, Jedi Knight Padawan relationship, but this one would be Obi-Wan and Anakin Skywalker. Mm-hmm. So this is taking place in between the 10-year gap between episodes 1 and Attack of the Clones. Mm-hmm. Episode 1, Attack of the Clones. So 10 years pass. We get to see this young, happy-go-lucky kid in episode 1 who's a kind of a pain in the ass grow into this like super monotone and like dead dude in Attack of the Clones. And I would love to see what happened to this dude to have him become so angsty, besides him missing his mama. You know what I'm saying? I know you missed his mom. But it would be interesting to see this, you know, and even in Attack of the Clones, it's alluded to that Obi-Wan and Anakin already have a kind of contentious relationship. Yeah. They allude to Anakin Skywalker losing his lightsaber on more than one occasion, and Obi-Wan kind of being annoyed by him by that in Attack of the Clones. It'd be a good opportunity to see that relationship play out, and good opportunity for you to get to do Anakin Skywalker right.
Absolutely.
That's totally probably the biggest thing.
Yeah. I mean, and it won't be entangled by anything that any of the previous movies did in terms of the plots, because it would probably take place before the Clone Wars. Right. So you have room to work with. It could be just a random adventure at a random place, because Jedis, that's what they do.
They got to keep the peace, man. The peacekeepers, man. They got to do things, man.
Or if you're clever enough, depending on who's the team behind this, they could kind of set the seed for episode 2 or anything else that happens way on in the future. And it'd be even kind of cool if some of these, like, not just the Obi-Wan movie, but like the Han Solo movies and some of these other kind of prequel, kind of, you know, flashbacks for some of these characters, maybe set the seeds or sow the seeds or you know, add to the lore of the current movies. Yes. Not episodes 1 through 6, but, you know, Force Awakens, Last Jedi, etc., etc. I mean, you never know what you could do that'd be kind of cool to, you know, add to what's already going on right now. But like what Hazy said, just Obi-Wan, Anakin, you get the chance to have like a young adult or teenage Anakin. He's probably like 18, 19 years old.
Yeah, he's 19, I think, at the start of Attack of the Clones. You could have him anywhere between 9 years old and 19 years old, like he is in Attack of the Clones. Now, what I will say is, if you cast him closer to like the younger teenage age, or maybe have him like, you know, sort of like a preteen, you get to kind of explore like him becoming older and becoming a little bit more mature. And you also maybe get the chance to recast Anakin, have someone else play him a little bit differently. So, like, Hayden Christensen, like, you know, we could sit here and be like, yo, we could de-age him too with technology. But, you know, like, at the end of the day, I think if you're going that young with Hayden Christensen, it might be a good idea to just go with a kid straight up because Hayden Christensen is kind of a tall dude. So, you can't really de-age him to the point where he looks like he's like 14. You're like, hey, that looks right. So, true. I mean, the other opportunity, once again, with this era, the opportunity to show the other Jedi as well. The other Jedi can kind of have a role in the movie. And also, Obi-Wan, you could get to see kind of the growth of Obi-Wan in particular, and him, on the path to becoming a Jedi Master, which we know he eventually becomes. And also, once again, Anakin Skywalker, second chance to do that right. You brought up a good point, Boyce, when you talked about the idea of doing prequels or doing movies that can be used to benefit the lore of other movies. And I thought of one movie in particular, Rogue One, that helped make A New Hope, even though A New Hope is a fantastic movie as it is, it helped make it better.
Yeah.
And if you created an integral set before episodes 1 and 2, it might serve to make Attack of the Clones better.
Yeah.
And Attack of the Clones, it needs to be better. Yeah. And we can't time travel, so we can't change that.
And one of the things that, again, we keep mentioning the Clone Wars cartoon, but one of the things that was good about that is they added so much information and so much that we either we wanted to see or we didn't know we wanted to see.
Right.
Between episodes 2 and 3.
Also, the characterization of Anakin Skywalker was
the best.
It was the best. It was way better. It was way better. You got to see his heroic side. You also got to see his contention and his issues with the Jedi Council. And you also got to see him struggle with attachment. Because that's the biggest thing that leads to his downfall, is the idea that he can't detach himself from people.
And you got to see him as a mentor to Ahsoka Tano.
There you go.
Who is one of the more beloved characters in Star Wars Rebels.
There you go.
Who also ties into Rogue One a little bit, sort of, kind of.
Because they may be
there's some Easter eggs in there.
They may be allude to her, hanging out with the ghost crew from Star Wars Rebels. Another show you should be watching if you're not watching. But DeepBoyce, numero uno, number one plot theory for Obi-Wan Kenobi, the movie.
Yes, this is probably the most obvious one. An Obi-Wan movie that takes place between episodes 3 and 4. Obi-Wan on Tatooine, the Hermit. It could be, a 45-year-old Obi-Wan, matching the age of Ewan McGregor.
That's a good point.
Or it could be an old man Obi-Wan, maybe a little bit closer to A New Hope. But this one this suggestion alludes to what we kind of talked about in that earlier video we mentioned, where we would love for the issue to be planet side, to be, kind of keep it on Tatooine. Well, while we are excited for an Obi-Wan solo movie, we do not want to see Obi-Wan just suddenly going off to other places. No. That would kind of really ruin and interfere with the lore and the image that we have of what's been going on in the Star Wars universe during that time.
That would undermine his mission to stay there and protect Luke Skywalker. Yes. That's really what it's about. The perceived hope, or the new hope that remains now that Vader's fallen to the dark side. And the thing about this interquel idea is that, and we alluded to this in our previous video, is that Obi-Wan, we don't want to necessarily make it a story where Obi-Wan has to protect Luke Skywalker. But first and foremost, we know that is his number one goal. So instead of having it be a situation where Luke Skywalker is in immediate danger, have it be that the planet of Tatooine is threatened. Yes. So that in saving Tatooine, he's essentially saving Luke Skywalker. And that's his whole point in protecting Tatooine.
Yes.
So, this interquel could have, Obi-Wan, on Tatooine. Now, another point, I brought this up to Boyce while we were talking, is that Star Wars is about, traversing other planets. It's Star Wars, not, one planet wars, So Boyce kind of had a good solution to that. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you want to explain it, because you had a great explanation for how they could include multiple planets by having Obi-Wan maybe stationed in Tatooine.
I was going to say, obviously it would be an Obi-Wan movie, but you can have a supporting character or characters that are the ones that are traversing, going from planet to planet. And the focus would be on them in order for you to get your kind of, universe traversal.
Yes.
From planet to planet.
Exactly.
And keep Obi-Wan on Tatooine. I think that is almost a must. I mean, you can never... like obviously you can't say with 100% certainty that it would not work.
Yeah.
But it sounds like a bad idea if you just suddenly have Obi-Wan leaving for whatever reason. It would have to be an extremely good reason for them to do that.
Right.
But hey, I mean, maybe they have the Ghost Crew.
Yeah. Maybe they have the Ghost
Star Wars Rebels in there. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
or they could have some of the people from Rogue One.
Like I was gonna say, Cassian Andor is somebody who, Now, once again, we don't want to. That another thing about having the prequel Obi-Wan is we can't also. I don't think it can be a situation where everybody knows that there's a Jedi hanging out on Tatooine.
Yes.
So if Cassian Andor is involved, there's somebody from the Ghost Crew. I mean, that's a whole other story in general because they got 2 Jedi sitting there on the Ghost Crew that they need to explain. But anyway,
but you know what the thing is? Obi-Wan doesn't have to use a lightsaber. He can use a vibro blade. He can use any other type of armed weapon.
DeepBoyce, I don't care what anybody says. Obi-Wan in this movie has to use a lightsaber at some point.
At some point, yeah.
But everyone who he uses a lightsaber in front of or on has to die. They have to die, bro. There's no lies being spilled. Oh, I'll keep your secret. No. You dead. Okay, you dead. Plot, for whatever the plot dictates.
Or maybe he's like, all right, you gonna keep the secret? Go ahead, do what you gotta do. And then as the person's walking away, he force pushes them off a cliff. Or he could do the persuasion that he did in The New Hope.
Yeah, that's true, the Jedi mind trick. But
you did not see me be a badass right now. You didn't see me. There's no such thing as a Jedi. It's a myth.
Whoever he doesn't has to have a weak mind, though. Remember that.
True.
Remember that.
True.
But if you're 100%. Against the idea of Obi-Wan staying on Tatooine, we have a solution for this. And this is a little bit of a amalgamation of our previous entries in this top 3 list with one honorable mention. And that is, while Obi-Wan is on, whatever mission or journey he has to take on Tatooine to protect the planet, he could have flashbacks, force visions, if you will, that flash back to these previous points we've mentioned. So something that takes place between the interquel period of episode 1 and 2, right? You have the opportunity to see Obi-Wan maybe something that he's experiencing while he's on Tatooine reminds him of the mistakes he made with Anakin Skywalker, and knowing that he's trying to stop himself from maybe committing the same mistakes he's had in the past, or maybe being too arrogant. Because I think that's one thing we can safely say Obi-Wan had in the original, in the prequels, is he was a little arrogant.
Yeah.
And
pompous.
He was a little pompous, Another era, once again, the prequel era that we talked about, where Obi-Wan flashes back to his training with Qui-Gonn Jinn. Maybe it's a situation where, it's like Metal Gear Solid 3, if you're a fan of that video game, where, the boss says to Snake, she goes, remember the basics of CQC. Maybe he has a flashback to Qui-Gon saying, remember the basics of being a Jedi, man. Once again, the idea of the Clone Wars mission that we talked about being a setting, he could flash back to that, and that would be a chance to bring back Hayden Christensen in a cameo role.
Yes, sir.
Where maybe he flashes back to the Clone Wars, and he's kind of experiencing that as he undergoes this. I mean, exile can't be easy for anybody.
Nope.
Exile can't be easy for anybody. This guy spends like a good 20 years by himself on a planet, or in theory by himself on a planet, watching over some kid who's supposed to be the future of the galaxy, or the hope for the galaxy. We need to see the psychology of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Whatever it is that he was up to, some of the relationships he forged, some of the dealings he came in and did. I mean, and also I forgot to mention in the video we talked about, maybe he interacted with Jabba the Hutt.
There you go. They may be interacting with Jabba the Hutt. Jabba the Hutt is someone who is a wheeling dealing gangster, and maybe Obi-Wan has to get his hands dirty in that respect. And once again, you don't necessarily have to reveal that Obi-Wan is a Jedi to have him go on these missions.
Yeah.
And when he does go on these missions, maybe he does, reveal that he's a Jedi. But that would be part of the fun of it. And once again, Ewan McGregor has to come back as Obi-Wan. I don't care how you do it. Ewan McGregor is Obi-Wan Kenobi. Synonymous. They are one and the same.
Yes,
okay?
Sir.
You look them up in a book and you see the picture next to it. It's if you look at a dictionary, you look up Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ewan McGregor is listed there. They're one and the same. Synonymous, man. But DeepBoyce, any final words?
No. I mean, totally agree. Ewan McGregor, there's definitely a way to slip them in on there and get them in those movies.
Definitely.
But
cameos from other characters, man, in the Star Wars mythos, man.
Cameos from other characters.
Yeah.
But Obi-Wan Kenobi movie, I'm totally down for it. I know there's people out there probably like, no, why? But hey, and I feel like there's not enough Star Wars. I know people Star Wars
about it,
year,
man.
like once a year, every year. I'm over here sitting. I mean, I'm enjoying all this Marvel and DC content, but I'm just like, man, where's the Star Wars?
I mean, one last thing, man. If they could listen, there's smarter men out there than me writing these movies. If y'all could bring Ahsoka Tano into the canon somehow, please do it. Somehow, if I don't know, somehow, some way, we need to let Ahsoka Tano get her movie shine. But anyway, guys, thank you for checking out this video. Let us know what your theories on the Obi-Wan Kenobi solo movie are. Let us know if you want to see Obi-Wan Kenobi do any of the things we mentioned in this video. Let us know if you want to see something completely different from Obi-Wan Kenobi. Let us know if you want to see any other characters get some solo movies in the Star Wars mythos. But by all means, please support the Spectacular Spoiler League. Turn on notifications for the channel so you can be up with the latest videos from the Spectacular Spoiler League. And, tune in to me and DeepBoyce's sexy, lovely voices here. I like saying that because, we got some silky smooth voices, man. But anyway, hit us with a like and subscribe. That also greatly helps. And by all means, comment, join up with the Spectacular Spoiler League. Me and DeepBoyce, we getting out of the hall of spoilers. Stizzo Stock. That's DeepBoyce's Star Wars name, by the way. Stizzo Stock. Sign us out.
Bon.